The canals provide a range of benefits to all sorts of people in all sorts of different ways.
I think it's very important that people have a place of spirituality, to tell you the truth, of being with nature.
The towpath is my front garden. I see how it is in each location, and I see that some places are beautiful and very nice places to live, and other places are simply threatening and uncomfortable places to have your home.
The goal of the Canal Regeneration Project is to provide a new vision for London canalways that take us into the future.
This idea came from walking along the canals, and I started wondering how we can improve the space so that everyone benefits from it. I realized that there is so much more potential that we could unlock from these sides.
During this project, we've got a range of different stakeholders involved, everything from local councillors through to the gardeners of local community projects and everyone in between.
Back in November, we hosted a community engagement event aboard a canal boat in collaboration with Your Canal Boat London, a community interest company.
We really need to get everyone talking to each other about this project and to learn from all these different perspectives.
In the past, we've seen how an absence of sufficient community stakeholder engagement to actually work out what a kind of clear and coherent vision might be for the community has meant that these redevelopment projects tend to stall.
And we talk about stakeholder-led governance or community-led governance where people are consulted before the final decision is made.
We're not trying to tell anyone anything. We're not trying to tell people the right way of going about things. We're trying to mostly identify the problem, learn from people and identify things that work. So yeah, welcome to the Canalside Strategy boat tour. So the purpose of this event really is just to show and discuss a few key locations along the canal.
So we started off at Sainsbury's in Ladbroke Grove at a site kind of colloquially or affectionately known as the Stumpery.
The Sainsbury's Stumpery is a project where we're aiming to bring a bunch of different tree stumps, so it provides seating for people and also an environment for local wildlife. Queen's Park Library is a library which is adjacent to the canal, where the canal side space essentially is fairly unsafe and requires quite a lot of maintenance to make it safe for people again.
And so it's thinking about creating what we're calling a super crossing, which is essentially extending the crossing that's there at the moment.
Jerry's Pompei is a personal art project from a guy called Jerry.
And he just casually built this in secret at night over 30 years that is celebrating marginalised cultural heritage, self-taught art, basically a heritage site for the local community because there's so much community energy here as you are all a part of, but there's not really a centralised visual art space.
I have had so many people come up to me and say this open space is their sanctuary.
Meanwhile Gardens is an example of a very well-run community garden adjacent to the canal.
I'd like Meanwhile Gardens to be a good representative of how successful a garden can be along the canal.
For me, as part of a piece of kind of public space, in a way, this is like the best piece of public sculpture in this part of London.
The Westway Flyover is where the Euston Road, the A40, kind of touches the canal, and it provides a space, a dry space for boaters. And it also means there's lots of issues with rough sleeping. Westborn Green is an example of a well-maintained council park.
So this is the allotment. Julie, she's one of our community gardener also.
The community have really taken ownership of this local church.
So Grand Junction also is an art and creative organization, but we are very open to the community. We are doing lots of projects for the community.
Well, it's been really fantastic to be on the boat today and to meet all these different people, some of whom we've been having conversations with, but other ones we haven't. And I think it's really great to just be from person to person, being able to interact and collaborate that way.
With a coherent canal strategy, we can all work together to bring about the changes that are needed, to have a shared vision of what we want to accomplish.
We heard their views, we heard the challenges, and so that allowed us to collect a lot of information, a lot of interesting insights that were built into the report.
We are in Hackney Wick, so this whole area used to be a complete wasteland. And so after the Olympic Games, all the buildings that have been set up have been repurposed for offices or universities. And so you can see this as an example of a huge area that's been regenerated. And of course the canal is part of that. But I think this is a good example of how, things could work in a more balanced way.
I think there's a lot of opportunity there. There's scope for people to do many, many things on the canal, but most of all there's scope for people to find themselves.
People benefit from these open spaces enormously.
And if we lost them, people would lose something that they don't even know they have.
I think this canal is a really special place and we can make it even better for generations to come.
Wonderful place to be. I can't see my life any other way.